I think you just realized how important the pieces in your life that you've created for yourself is to you. And if your life has been anything like mine's been over this past month, you've been shown pretty much all the hardships, all the lessons, all the healing you've done, all the work you've done, all the inner work, all the shadow aspects of yourself that you've faced time and time again, when I'd say like others are questioning what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why you're on this deep self-healing journey. And now you're at this space of completion with it, where we're in Pisces season. It is, everything's coming full circle, and your boundaries are being tested. Your ability to detach is being tested. Your creativity is expanding when you're by yourself, or when you take time for yourself. As you know, Pisces season, as somebody who is a Pisces sun and moon in the second house, my life revolves around being a Pisces in every aspect. It's this subconscious world that is in reality. It's almost like I'm playing from reality from the other side, having access to all these spiritual gifts and skills and knowledge and wisdom. But then I have to apply it into a reality where, you know, people don't see what I see and feel what I feel, and they don't understand what I do. But when I have that time alone, whenever you create that sacred space and you allow yourself to be in that solitude, and you push away from, you know, anything that keeps you from it. And it's never a means to separate yourself from other people, but the saying from Nikola Tesla comes in as like, you want to be the greatest inventor in the world, spend time alone. That is where pure creation comes through to you, is when you can take that time alone. And I think if you're watching this video, you're probably somebody who is a creative entrepreneur, a conscious creator, an impact-driven entrepreneur, somebody who loves metaphysics and applies it to their everyday in their own unique way, and you understand the mastery of everything unseen and bring it into the scene. And that is, you know, that's pure alchemy in a sense. It's taking this channel message, this thought, this vision, this clairvoyant image, and actually building it into reality with all the AI tools and resources we have now, because we don't live in this world where we get this download and this massive thought and we're like, yes, and we start building it, and it takes 20 steps to even get it started. Now we're almost to this point of singularity where you can get a channeled idea, you can get a download, you can click your mouse once and talk exactly how it comes into you. It puts it on a screen and you're able to alchemize it right there into, you know, artwork, a digital project, an ebook, Twitter post. You know, there's all these things that we can do now, and you have the full ability. You've done the work. You've gone through the crisis of being a genius and not having what a genius needs. You've done the mastery of yourself, the mastery of metaphysics, the mastery of all your karmic life lessons. And now we have this beautiful time where Saturn and Neptune have moved into Aries, so it's a fresh start for the collective in a sense of bringing their dreams to reality, and you're a big part of that. You're going to be a leader in this, and you know, your dreams have already started to build them into reality, and as people are starting to figure out what those dreams are and start building, you're already ahead of the wave of them. You've been doing the work for the last probably 14 years when Neptune was in Pisces, and when whatever your Pisces placement is probably very strong. And you know, you had Saturn there for 2.5 years, almost 3, and it might have driven you insane. You're like, God, why is all these structures falling around me? But it taught you the greatest structure. It taught you your dream, and now you're rolling it out into reality and sharing it with the world. And it's through these moments of solitude that you found your deepest sense of self. You know, you've gone through the loneliness, the guilt, and the why don't people want to hang out with me and be with me? And you're in this space now, and this past month you were shown how much that solitude means to you, the value of the solitude to you, how much your spiritual gifts come online when you allow yourself to be alone and in the presence of God and have the pure channel that connects you to source. And you know, nothing in your life needs to be planned, because everything in your life is already planned. And when you fully surrender to the divine flow and you're able to open yourself, hollow yourself out and receive, you have endless creations you can build upon. And it simply just allows you to fully be yourself in every moment, not worrying, but fully trusting and surrendering that everything that comes to you will be for you. If you forget something, you'll remember it intuitively. There's no fear in your reality. And this is a unique vibration and place to be, as I feel most of the people on this earth are pseudo-independent. They're pseudo-spiritualists. They live in a fantasy world where, they see a tarot card reading and they're like, that's going to happen to me with no actions, and that's a lie. Or they have this feeling that they're about to take off, but they're not doing anything to take off. There's this world that exists between, and I love this too, is this is coming through me clairvoyantly, is like 1 + 2 = 3. So 1 is standing independently, it shows it in a number. 2 is grounded and helps serves others for a higher purpose. It's diplomatic and balanced. And then 1 + 2 = 3. 3 is the number of creation, and whenever you see a 3, like it inputs data to manifest through 2 lobes, and it continually expands. It's like Tesla's 369 theory. It's like 3 + 3 = 6. So 2 3s make a number that is grounded, centered, and manifest. The 6 is like the womb of the child, or the womb of the mother that creates the child. And then 3 + 3, or 3 + 3 is 6, and then 6 + 3 is 9, the highest vibration coming from God, grounding it down to the earth through emotions. And then you go back in that cycle, and it's like 9 + 3 goes back to 3, and that cycle continues. So, and you understand this balance is what I'm getting at. Is 1, you got to stand independently and save yourself. 2, you got to start to partner with people who are on the same wavelength and frequency without fawning to them, but meeting them where you're at, or allowing them to meet you where you're at, and being the diplomat who balances the 2, but also doesn't allow people to hijack their energy, their nervous system, their space, their place, because this is all what's so sacred to you. And this is what you spent the last, I want to say 14 years really creating as this Garden of Eden in your life. And it might have been this physical place that you could always retreat to, but this past month you were shown that now you had to advance that skill. Now you had to find solitude around people and energies. You learned energetic boundaries. You learned how much your nervous system can support yourself and others, but you also learned when it's time to detach and disconnect and stop holding space for others, to allow them to understand their own frequency, understand their own vibration, understand their own power to grow their own nervous system. And it's like the greatest gift that you could give them is teaching them that lesson silently and not robbing them of the lessons that taught you everything you know. You can be somebody who can stabilize other people for short periods of time, as that's what humans do, is we're always trading energy. But in a sense that it starts debilitating you or gets your nervous system shaky, then it's not for you anymore, and it's time to disconnect. It's time to allow that person to learn everything you did, and you can still come back and re-engage with them. But it's not about helping them, it's about helping yourself and being a resource for others along the way, instead of being the one who does it for others, right? Like there's a big separation in energy there. And I think you learned that. I think you learned how to be independent, and you are a full independent person. Now you got to collaborate with other people who are independent, but not hyper independent and not codependent. And there's such a fine line there. A lot of people claim to be independent, but they're hyper independence out of fear and trust, or fear of trust and fear of others. So they've created a world that only they can live in and control, and can't allow others in. And there's such an art of the vibration and frequency here, because truly someone who is independent can be around others and will need time alone to have their stability. But it's not a sense of like I can only do stuff alone, or I can only do stuff with other people. It's this art of balance of, it's a 2-4 line, which I carry as a mental projector. It's like, it's the 2, the Hermit, solitude. Like this is where all the downloads come in. You reconnect with yourself. Your aura cleanses all the shit out of itself to allow you to fully be in power with yourself and share your gifts with yourself, which is your most innate gift that you can do. But then you can't be selfish with yourself, and that's hyper independence if you only stay with yourself. So then coming back to reality and going to your networking, and a 2-4 line is dependent on hermiting and spending time alone to download and process. And then 4 is through your network, you get all your resources, and value in your life comes in through so many different ways and things. And it's like such an art to have that balance and understand it. But it's such a tough journey there that you just completed, of this sense of like, you went through the loneliness phase, you went through the solitude phase, you went through the phase of like, why doesn't anybody want to be around me? But you stuck to it. You found your gifts in the silence. You started hearing that intuition and that voice in the silence, and you started connecting with your true self, blocking out all the noise around you. And then you advanced it, and you learned how to hold this vibration and frequency while also being around others. And though that probably wasn't openly allowing yourself to experience that, it was probably forced by the universe, or you were put in a container to learn it. You learned it. You knew yourself so well, and trusted yourself, and knew your gifts and your skills and your talents and how you operate. But then when God, the universe, source, put you around other people and places for the past month and you didn't have your solitude, you learned how to create it by simply taking your own space. You know, something unique I did was I got noise canceling headphones and I'm like, why am I buying these? And those were the greatest thing I could have bought myself, because endlessly I could put them on, push a button, everything around me goes silent and I can go within. And if your journey was anything like mine, like, you created the Garden of Eden within you now. So now you have this space, like this physical studio apartment that I have here that is like, you know, this is my Garden of Eden. This is the place that I can always go to where there's no noise. It's pure silence. It's spiritually gridded. There's an altar. There's energy. Everything energetically is flowing in here, and everybody can feel it when they come here. That's the coolest thing about this place for me. It's like when people walk in, it's like they're like, and I'm like, what do you feel? And they're always like, it's quiet, it's pure. And I'm like, thank you, I appreciate that. But then you've created that inner world within yourself, which is like the toughest level, right? When you have all this noise, all this conflict, all this false stuff around you, and where do you go? It's almost like people mask their energy and you had to be around that energy, but then being around that energy, you learned how to go within and create that space within. And it created the greatest gift that you could ever have or give to yourself. And it's created you into this person, this thing, this enigma that is continually blowing other people's minds by simply being yourself. And even though others might deflect it, neglect it, project upon it, they're watching it, they're amazed by it, they're so questioning themselves outside of themselves by watching you, that it's actually causing them to question every aspect of themselves that they thought was them, which I think is like the greatest gift you could ever give somebody, is allowing them to see themselves in their own light without you saying anything, but being a living and breathing example that they can endlessly test where they're at and where you're at in order to bring them closer to themselves. To me, like, that is true healing. That is true coaching. That is leading by example. That's being everything in this world that people talk about, but not too many people can embody. And I think that is the essence that you're feeling right now. And personally, from this experience too, coming through it and channeling this and sharing this with you, is like, that's exactly where I'm at right now. Is I'm wondering what's next. You know, I felt this energetic upgrade in my nervous system. I felt everything in my life feel better, not worse. I felt boundaries that I needed to create for myself and others, and did it so graciously. But at the time, it felt confusing. It felt off. I was wondering what is working, what isn't. Am I going crazy? But I stayed with myself the whole time and allowed myself to fully allow the process to happen and to trust and surrender the whole way, knowing that I'm divinely protected and always stumble into what's for me. You know, it's like the true art of full surrender and trust, and completely hauling yourself out is simply allowing yourself to trust anything and everything and flow through life, and allow every step to be a breathing, walking meditation that a lot of people, like I said, talk about but don't actually live. They'll tell you the concepts, but they don't embody it. They'll tell you the theory, but they don't embody it. And you're somebody who walked the path. You did the work. You not only are learning the information, but you integrated it. You lived it. You integrated it, and then you embodied it. And now you're sharing it with others, not through telling and promoting it, but simply creating it into your lifestyle in a way that is a moving artwork. It's a moving meditation. It's causing everybody to say, what the heck? And you're like, yeah, it's magical. But saying nothing is saying something. And by continually sharing it, you're opening up others to it in a space that they're not used to. As others, I believe, love to be told exactly what to do, and they give their power away. As you're somebody who is quietly moving through it, you're learning, you're observing, you're integrating, you're embodying, and you're creating it into your lifestyle, not telling people to pay attention to it, but allowing people to pay attention to it who want to see it and want to, you know, bring that into their own life and their own lifestyle in their own unique way. And there's no rule book, there's no manual. It's just this connection between you and you. And then once you get to a different level, then, you know, it's between you and God on a very high frequency where you have access to anything and everything as long as you stay in alignment. And I think that's the easiest part of this path for you. Is you've walked the hardest path in life. You've gone through the trials and tribulations. You've been through hell and you've smiled. You found friends along the way. you endlessly have taken leap of faith after leap of faith after leap of faith. And even though the signs told you something magical would happen, nothing did. And you kept going, you kept trusting, you kept just following your intuition, following your heart, following your guidance, even though everything in reality was saying, stop right here, don't go any further. You kept going, you kept trusting, you kept surrendering. Even when everybody around you kept telling you to stop and that you were wrong and that maybe you were crazy or maybe they didn't understand it, but you understood exactly who you were and what you're doing, and it connected you to your greatest power within. It was the test that God set up for you in this lifetime. You and God were sitting in the room one day and said, this is the test I want to pass in life. Give me every reason to not believe anything about myself, and then give me every reason to trust myself afterwards when I complete it. And that's exactly, we got to change this light a little bit, but that's exactly what you did. Was you learned who you were, how you operate, and how you literally are bringing Christ consciousness into everything you do in every way possible, through everything that, I don't like this reference, but everything that the Bible talks about is your life in a unique way, and people see it. People understand who you are and that, you know, you're a prophet of this generation, but it hasn't been your time to rise up yet, which is confusing to them. But you know exactly who you are, and you know your mission on this planet, and you know that the greatest test is the noise that surrounds you versus the silence that's within you. And you've really pulled yourself from this world of external validation seeking and having to share everything that comes to you to get validated by other people. And you've stepped in this place of sovereignty and knowing that you have the truest freedom that everybody wants, but nobody wants to do the work for. You know, you're on this level in connection with yourself that only you can understand, and the more you share it with others, the more confusion that it almost brings into your life, which is a sign to keep that stuff to yourself, but share the broader messages with the masses to really help them understand what's going on in this pure chaos that, you know, everybody's gone through this past month. If you're on this wavelength and this frequency, is like, you knew it was a test. You played that test the whole way. You showed up, you pushed yourselves to a new limit, you learned new things about yourself, and now you're going to be rewarded for it. And I think, yeah, that comes in so generously from the angels here. It's just like, you're being rewarded, even though the signs might not be there in the first couple days after seeing this video. Like, you'll notice the pebbles start to come in, and they're all building towards something bigger. And yeah, I would say as this Mercury retrograde starts for you, really see who's coming back into your life, and then who you really want to keep in your life and who you're allowing to let go of your life. Because I think that's what Mercury retrogrades are all about. It gives those time who endlessly follow their intuition through authenticity and alignment time to come back and circle back to refine everything that they let go and trusted would have time to come back to. I think that's the art of the retrogrades, is always staying in your alignment and authenticity. And no matter what reality is saying you should do, you follow what you need to do through your guidance, and you trust that when you have time, or when the planet's retrograde, you will have time to go back and do everything that you needed to do to complete everything that you said you would do. And I think that's the art right now, is just allowing yourself to trust and allowing yourself to sit with yourself. You've done the work, and now Mercury's going to retrograde. And if you did the work, then this gives you a month to really take silence, connect with yourself, find your solitude again, find your center, expand that nervous system that you worked so hard to grow, reconnect back with your gut on a deeper level, and let the downloads flow in. And, you know, I'd encourage you to keep a notebook closer of iPhone Note or something to keep track of all these downloads, because if you've done the work, the frequency is going to drop you some information that will blow your mind, and then you can blow other minds with it as you start to aggregate it and accumulate it into the greatest gift that you could give this world that you don't even know you're about to give it. I think we're going to end this video here. So if you guys made it through this video, be sure to join my community, Enoch on School. It is ENOCH by Chris, and it is a free community where endlessly I share videos and topics like this on transformations, and as a whole, anything I live and breathe, I put in this community, because I want other spiritualists with different levels of gifts and skills and talents to not feel alone anymore, but to find other people who have access to these unique gifts and talents, because I think we're meant to work together and co-create with one another. And everything in Enoch, in my free school community, is literally using everything unseen to be more seen, to allow you to be empowered by your spiritual gifts, to allow you to fully express them in the way that you're meant to, through the authenticity and alignment within your soul, to be seen as the unique gift that you are to this planet, and share the messages God shares with you to the masses in your own unique way, to just create a higher vibration and frequency on this earth through simply being yourself. So if that resonates with you, be sure to join the community. It's going to be the pinned comment below in this video. And then be sure to subscribe to this channel. I love creating these videos. I've been one to always watch the channeled messages, but I've never been one to create it. And as my channel has gotten more pure and I've learned to operate it more, it endlessly brings me excitement and joy as a projector to sit here and share these messages with you as I talk to myself through myself, and also share the messages with you as a channeled message and as a perspective, because I've learned most recently is like, through me the power flows so I can empower others. But without the power flowing through me as the amplifier, the power is no different from the lives that they live. And it's like, I've learned this sense of 1, 2 = 3 is like, through me and independence, I can share with you, and we can connect and we can collaborate with one another, sharing our gifts and experience through holding independence, that we can endlessly create more for ourselves and others around us that are on the same vibration and frequency. So guys, thank you so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe, like this video if it created any shift in you, brought you any knowledge or value, and peace out. I'll see you on the next episode.